Today, we're diving into Tempus AI. Now, this is a company that's all about the powerful intersection of artificial intelligence and healthcare. And their goal? It isn't just to make medicine a little bit better, but to totally reshape how we treat diseases. They're trying to build what could become the central data hub for the entire future of healthcare. So let's break down exactly how their model works.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll talk about the big picture promise of AI in medicine. Then we'll get into the real engine of Tempus's business, what they call the data flywheel. After that, we'll look at their growth and who they're up against. And finally, we'll wrap up with the investor's take. You know, the bull case versus the bear case.
So let's start with the big idea here. For most of history, medicine has pretty much been a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. But here's the thing. We're all completely unique, right down to our genes. And the huge question in healthcare today is how we get past that old model.
And that really is the question that a company like Tempus AI is built on. The whole point is to stop treating a disease in general and start treating your specific version of that disease. But how on earth do you do that for millions of people? Well, their big bet is that the answer is AI.
This is really the heart of what we call precision medicine. It's all about taking these incredible amounts of clinical and molecular data. We're talking your genetic code, your entire medical history, and using powerful technology to spot patterns that can tell us which treatment is going to work best for you. It is, without a doubt, a monumental data challenge.
Okay, so how does Tempus actually turn this amazing idea into a real business? Well, everything revolves around this core strategy they call the data flywheel. Let's dig into how that actually works.
The key idea to get your head around is what Tempus calls intelligent diagnostics. And look, think of it like this. It's not just about running a lab test and getting a simple result back. Nope. It's about using AI to sift through mountains of data to find that one crucial insight that helps a doctor make a smarter decision for their patient right then and there.
And this is where it all comes together so brilliantly. The flywheel, right? It kicks off with a genomic test for a patient. That test generates a ton of data. The AI platform crunches it all, finds a pattern, and helps a doctor. Now, as more doctors start using the service, they feed even more data back into the system. And what happens then? Well, the AI gets smarter. Its insights get more valuable, which of course attracts even more doctors. It's this powerful, self-reinforcing loop designed to finally break down all those data silos that have held medicine back for so long.
So this flywheel, it powers three separate but connected business segments. It all starts with genomics. That's where their tests, like the XT, generate all that initial data. That data then becomes the fuel for the data and AI segment, where they license tools like Tempus Lens to drug companies. And then finally, care pathways uses all of that same intelligence to help match patients with the right clinical trials. See how it works? Each piece of the business feeds the next, creating this really powerful, interconnected system.
Okay, so the model sounds great in theory, but is it actually working? Let's get into the numbers and see how Tempus really stacks up in the market.
I mean, just look at this. The company's growth has been absolutely explosive. We're talking a jump of roughly 80% in a single recent year, up to a projected $1.27 billion. And almost all of that surge is coming from their genomics business as more and more oncologists adopt their tests.
But look, that kind of growth costs a lot of money. And while they've hit a huge milestone with profitability, their free cash flow is still pretty deep in the red. Now, this is actually by design. They have this 1/3 rule. For every new dollar of gross profit they make, they keep about 1/3. And the other 2/3, they plow it right back into R&D and expansion. Why? To keep that data flywheel spinning faster and faster.
So here's the crucial question. How are they different from their rivals? I mean, you've got big players like Foundation Medicine and Guardant Health who are also in the genomic testing game. But their main focus is on the test itself, the product. The key difference with Tempus is that they don't just hand over a test result. They deliver AI-powered insights and tools on top of it, creating a much more complete system for doctors to use. And all of that creates what you'd call a serious competitive moat. First, you've got the sheer scale of their data. That is a massive hurdle for anyone trying to catch up. Second is that deep AI integration we talked about. And third, and this is huge, is the ecosystem they built. They have deep roots in most of the major U.S. cancer centers and work with thousands of oncologists. That's hard to replicate.
So, with all that in mind, what's the final verdict for someone looking at this company's future? Let's weigh the arguments for and against.
So the bull case, the argument for why this thing could be huge, is pretty clear. Growth could come from making their AI tools even smarter with things like generative AI.
They could expand beyond cancer into other complex areas like neurology and cardiology. They can build even deeper, more lucrative partnerships with drug companies. And of course, there's always expanding around the globe.
But on the other hand, the bear case points to some really significant challenges. That high cash burn is a big one. They need a constant stream of cash to keep growing. Then there's regulatory risk from the FDA, the constant threat of price wars as the technology gets cheaper, and of course, the huge challenge of dealing with super-sensitive medical data and all the privacy laws that come with it.
So where do the professionals land on this? Well, for the time being, it seems like Wall Street is betting on the vision. The general consensus is pretty bullish, with most analysts seeming to believe that the long-term potential here outweighs those immediate risks.
And you can see that bullish feeling reflected right in their price targets. The average analyst target is sitting at around $85 a share, which suggests that they see a lot of potential upside from where the stock is trading right now.
So I think when it all comes down to it, the main takeaway is this. If you just see Tempus as another lab testing company, you're kind of missing the whole point. The real play here, the big vision, is the creation of this enormous medical data infrastructure. They're not just selling tests, they're building the platform and the data library that could be the foundation for the future of personalized medicine.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. Is Tempus a tech company that just happens to be in healthcare, or is it a healthcare company that's just really good at using tech? Or is it something entirely new, the actual infrastructure where those two worlds are finally going to merge? Honestly, the answer to that question will probably define the future of medicine itself.